Welcome to video 2. Let's continue learning how to crochet our first amigurumi ball. All right, this one we're crocheting in continuous rounds. It's going to look like a spiral instead of joined rounds. This is continuous rounds. And in video 1, we started with the magic ring. We did first round of 6 single crochets, and then second round we increased in every one of those 6 stitches to get 12 then for round 2. And then by round 3 we did 6 units of single crochet increase all the way around to get 18 stitches, and that's where we're at now. If you haven't seen video 1, go back and take a look at that. I also share how to hold the yarn and the hook and all the materials we're using for this first progression of learning. So we're going to move on to round 4 in this next section. And if you are noticing a pattern, which I hope you are in terms of the stitches, we are increasing each round by 6, okay? And so our units are going to be in groups of 6 each time. So this 4th round, we're going to build on what we've already done. We had 6 single crochets, 6 increases, 6 units of 1 single crochet, and then an increase. And now this next round, we're going to do 2 single crochets and then an increase 6 times, 6 units of that, 2 single crochets and then an increase. Okay, let's get started. All right, my dear, let's work on round 4. Removing the stitch marker, and we're going to just put a single crochet into that first stitch of round 4. Wonderful reminder, put in your stitch marker. Gonna sound like a broken record with this, but if you forget that, guy, you're like, where am I? You don't want that to happen. So we're gonna put in the stitch marker. All right, we've got our first stitch. We're gonna do a second single crochet in the next stitch. So that's not an increase. We did 1 single crochet per stitch this time, right? So now we have our 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Now we're going to do an increase in that 3rd stitch. And 1 more in that same base stitch for our increase. And this is our unit for round 4. Okay, and we're going to repeat this single, single increase 6 times all the way around. Yeah? Crochet with me. Got a single. Got a single. And then we've got an increase. And if at any point you need to pause the video, of course, do that. I expect that. It's the beauty of having the recorded video. You can rewind, you can pause, all that good jazz. All right, that was our second unit. I'm going to keep on going all the way around. Now, for this ball, I'm doing straight up stacking the increases on top of each other so we can illustrate how this progression works and make the math clear. When we get, I'm talking, did I miss it? No, this is our increase. I did 1, 2, and then we're going to do our increase in that 3rd stitch. A little later on, we're going to talk about staggering our increases instead of stacking them right on top of each other. But for this ball, I want you to see the simplicity of it, understand the math, and how we grow that diameter, and also working in the continuous rounds instead of the joined rounds. Increase 1, 2, we're on the increase here. And it makes a lot of sense when you just understand each round. Hey, we just add another single crochet to that unit until we get as big as we want to go. That's our increase. And then we've got one more unit here, single, and a little more yarn, single, and then we're going to do a final increase right before our lovely stitch marker that's going to tell us, hey, it's time to stop, time for the next round. All right, so how many stitches do you think that would be all the way around for the fourth round? We had 18 at the end of round 3. 18 plus 6 is, yep, 24. All right, that's looking great. Let's go on to round 5. All right, my dear, let's remove the stitch marker and begin our 5th round. Gonna put our first single crochet in here and then put the stitch marker into that first. Oh, come on over here. Oh my goodness gracious. I dropped that one. I'm gonna give myself kindness and use another one because we can do that. No problem. All right, so that is the first single crochet of the 5th round. Now, what in the progression do you think we're gonna have as units for this 5th round? The last round, round 4, we had single, single, increase. So now we're gonna add one more single to that unit, all right? Single, 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 increase. So 3 singles, 1 increase all the way around. Times 6. The units times 6. So we have our first one marked by our stitch marker. We're going to go second single, third single, and then we're going to finish that first unit off with an increase. Okay, single, 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 increase. That's our unit for the 5th round. Okay, we're going to do that 6 times. Here we go. Crochet with me. When you're getting started, sometimes it'll feel like the yarn's a little stuck, and it is totally fine to take your time and, you know, wrangle it a little bit. Go one at a time. You don't have to pull through both of these loops at once. Go one at a time. Get the feel for it. You know, no judgment. It will get faster with practice and experience. So we've got 1, 2, 3, that's our increase. 1, 2, 3, we need our increase here. And one of the lovely things about your increases is it makes it really nice and easy to, if you lose your place, to go back and kind of figure out where you are in your units. Gonna do our 3rd unit here. single, 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 grab a little more yarn, loop it around my fingers. I have some nice backup here. And then our increase. Okay, and we're gonna do 3 more singles. 1, 2, 3, increase. There we go, another unit. 1, 2, 3, increase. And our last unit of this round, 3 singles and an increase. 1, 2, 3, and an increase. Beautiful. And that's round 5. It's looking good. Okay, now that we have finished our 5th round, I want to point out a couple of things. So since we are working in our continuous rounds and we're stacking the increases, which means we're putting the increase stitches right on top of the previous round's increases, and that will be pretty much for every unit. When you do that, you'll start to see as the rounds go on little extra kind of almost pointy bits happening in units of 6, or 6 of them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like a hexagon. And the more rounds you would do, the more prominent that would be. It's not the end of the world, and it makes perfectly nice balls at the end. It's really more noticeable when it's still open. And I wanted to show you this with our first ball, and I will show you an alternative with the next ball. The other thing I wanted to point out is, if you look really closely, you can see how these little stitches are coming out as little X's for your single crochets. Can you see that? When you do, this is a really kind of clear one right there. When you use the yarn under technique like we're using here, it creates slightly tighter stitches and they come out as those cute little X's, which is definitely my preferred technique for amigurumis. Makes it nice, tighter, smaller stitches, and those cute little X's. We'll go over some of the other options in later videos, but I just wanted to point that out. The shape of those cute little stitches. All right, let's go on to the next round. We are ready for round 6. Now, for the purpose of this this exercise, this is as many increase rounds as we're going to do. So we're not going to be increasing in the next rounds. We're just going to be doing single crochet, which is going to be kind of the sides of the ball. All right, so for rounds 6 through 10, we're just going to single crochet in every stitch all the way around. Simple as that, and fun. It's kind of fun when you've been counting and increasing and you get to the place where it's like, I can just kind of zone out a little bit, enjoy the movement of the hook, just get into this single crochet all around. But we're not going to forget what? The stitch marker. Hey, I didn't drop it this time. Woohoo! Mistakes are natural, expected, welcome. Even we can make discoveries, and we're going to be self-compassionate to ourselves. So we are going to single crochet in all of these 30 stitches. After round 5, we increased 6 from round 4, 24 up to 30. And that's as wide as we're going to go. So we're just going to do these single crochets all the way around. Up to the 10th round. When you're doing this bit, see if you can start to find your flow, your rhythm. See how the hook and the yarn feels the best as it's moving. And the tension from your pointer finger to the yarn here that connects your work and your finger. Don't want it to be too loose, right? Because if it's too loose, it's hard to work with, right? So if it's too loose, grabbing it will be an issue, right? So you want to just kind of play with where does that live? What does that feel like? Get that muscle memory, okay? And you know, I realize I'm holding it a little closer to the edge here. You know, when I was showing you, it's still the same position, but as I'm working, I do like to hold a little bit closer there. The stitches that were increases in the previous round can be a little bit more, you know, you gotta wrangle it just a little bit more sometimes to get your single crochets in for the next round. So if you're like, oh, some of those stitches are a little harder to get into, probably an increase from the previous round. No problem at all. Alright, and there's our beautiful last stitch of the 6th round. And now you can start to see it's starting to curve just a little bit because we're not increasing, we're not going wider, right? We're starting to get that curve going that will turn into the sides of the ball. It's getting exciting. All right, dear. So I'm gonna let you do the rest of your rounds with just single crochets all the way around in every stitch until you've done the 10th round. I'll see you back here. Welcome back. It's magic. It got so much bigger. It's starting to look like a amigurumi ball. Hopefully you've got your 10 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And hopefully you're really proud of your work so far. It's going great. Now, round 11. We're going to do something new. You ready? We are going to start decreasing, and we're going to go exactly in the opposite direction as we did the increases. So for round 11, we're going to do 3 single crochets and 1 invisible decrease for that unit 6 times all the way around. So we've got 30 stitches around right now on the 10th round, and we will end up with 24 stitches after the 11th round. Okay, we're going to decrease by 6, just like we increased by 6 every round in the beginning. Now we're going to start decreasing by 6. Okay, pretty simple math. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Okay. This is going to be our first stitch in round 11. And got our stitch marker there. So we're going to go 2 more single crochets. Okay, we've got our 3 single crochets of this round, this unit, and now we're going to do an invisible decrease. How do you do that? We want to pull 2 stitches into 1. Okay? So, do you remember how we talked about the stitches having this kind of V shape up on top? For the invisible decrease, we just want to go into that front loop of the V. Okay, that's 1. We want to do that with 2 consecutive stitches. So let's put the pointy end here into the second front loop only of that second stitch. Okay, and it looks like that. We yarn under, and we're going to pull through both of those front loops. Okay, you can see they're kind of brought together. And now it's finishing this stitch just like a single crochet. You got your 2 loops on the hook, yarn under, and you bring it through both of those. All right, now that is your invisible decrease, and it's going to look really good. This is about the least conspicuous way to do this when you're decreasing. All right, so that's 1 unit. We're going to do that unit 6 more times all the way around for round 11. Now, when you are doing your next single crochet after an invisible decrease, be a little bit careful. I have done this. I've gone back into that area there, which is the same front loop of our decrease. So just be a little bit careful that you go into the next stitch over, right? If you turn it this way, you can kind of see. You want both of those loops clearly visible there, okay? You just gonna do 3 more single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now let's show you that invisible decrease again. we're going to go into the front loop here and front loop of the next one. Yarn under, bring it through both of those, and yarn under and bring it through your 2 loops. I'm going to do that 4 more times, 4 more units. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to decrease. Front loop, next stitch, front loop, yarn under, pull through both, yarn under, pull through your 2 top loops. One, 2, 3, decrease. Now when I am crocheting on my own, just kind of have this running in my head, you know, whatever round I'm on. 1, 2, 3, decrease. And 1, 2, 3, decrease. All right, now you can see it's starting to pull the work back down around there, right? It's starting to look like a ball. It's looking good. All right, let's go on to round 12. All right, we're getting there. We're on to round 12. And so if you follow the progression, this next round, we're gonna do 2 single crochets and then a decrease. Because the last round we did 3 single crochets, decrease. Now we're gonna go to 2. We're working our way down. We're at 24 stitches after round 11, and we're going to bring the work to 18. 24 minus 6, because we're working in units of 6. When we increase rounds, we go up by 6, and when we're decreasing our rounds, we're going down by 6. Whoops, I didn't get both loops there. Both loops, please. Thank you. Yeah, okay. So that's our first stitch. Go 1 more single crochet, and then a decrease. One, 2, and a decrease. One, 2, and a decrease. A little more yarn there. And 1, 2, and decrease. Oh, I lost it. No worries, we're going to go again. Decrease in those front loops. One, 2, decrease. pardon me. And our final unit, 1, 2, and decrease. Okay, that's round 12. We should have 18 stitches all around. When you're doing your decreases, it's a little different than the increases, and you want to make sure they're tight enough. They're not like getting super loose. You don't want to pull super tight either, but just to make sure you're not getting holes in between your work. Okay, let's go on to round 13. You know, I said let's go on to round 13, but before we do that, let's start stuffing the ball a bit. All right, let me show you how to do that. So I like to use cotton balls to stuff my amigurumi. Just pull them apart, kind of make them a little less lumpy. A lot of people use something called polyfill, which works very well as well. I just prefer cotton, the material. Okay, just using the wooden dowel kind of to get it in there. Let's do another one. So stuffing amigurumi is a bit of an art in itself. You want to stuff it well enough without overstuffing or understuffing. It's a little bit frustrating to hear, maybe. How do you know, right? When you're stuffing it and you feel like those stitches are starting to really stretch and distort the shape of your amigurumi, you're overdoing it. And if it's too squishy and like not holding its shape, then you probably need a little more, right? And of course, with more complicated amigurumis, you know, shaping like cheeks or something or whatnot, just takes some finesse to figure it out and feel your way. Make sure you're filling those all out in a good way, okay? I think that's good for now. We don't want it to be too full because we don't want the cotton ball getting stuck in our stitches, all right? We'll put the dowel up and we'll go on to round 13. Round 13 is going to take our stitch count from, right now we're at 18. We're going to want to go down to 12, go down by 6. The last round we had 2 single crochets and an invisible decrease times 6. Now we're going to do just 1 single crochet and then a decrease. That's going to be the unit for round 13. That's our first single crochet. We're going to put the stitch marker in there. Come on. All right. Here we go. That's our unit. For round 13, we're going to do 6 units of single crochet and then decrease. It's a lot of decreases. Keep your work nice and tight enough so that you don't get big hole gaps. Grab a little more yarn here. Time for a decrease. As you get closer to the end here, the decreases can feel a little bit trickier, but hang in there, you can do it. See how I'm putting my finger here to kind of stabilize the work? That's really helpful. Oops. Yeah, no, that's right. One, and decrease. And then one. And decrease. And there we go. It's round 13. We're at 12 stitches. We're getting there. All right, my dear, we need to stuff this little guy just a little bit more. And then we're gonna close up this ball. So that was really the last round, round 13. It's a little different because we don't have a magic circle and our single crochets to put on this side of the ball. So there's a different technique for closing it up. At the end here, when you're stuffing the ball before you close it up, this is where the dowel really comes in handy because it's hard to, get your fingers in there and try and shape it. You can actually take this off now, the stitch marker. Yeah, we can get more going in there. You kind of feel on the outside if there's a little bit of a space where it's a little, softer, where it needs a little more firmness there. That's pretty close. Maybe just a little bit on this side here. See, it's a little bit flatter. Wrangle it a little if you need to. It's not precious. It's got some give to it. That's a little lumpy right there. No, thank you. There it goes. That's a much happier amigurumi ball. Okay, it's looking good. All right, now let's learn how to close this up. We're in the home stretch, my dear. So here's how we're gonna close this amigurumi ball up. We're gonna take scissors and we're gonna cut this string now. So you wanna make sure you have enough length so you can close it up. So don't cut it too short here. Give yourself a little extra as you're learning, okay? So a little extra can't hurt, okay? And then you're gonna put your crochet hook back into that loop and just bring the yarn through. Just pull it all the way through, okay? Just like that. All right, we're done with the crochet hook. Now we're going to use our yarn hook. I'm using the slightly bigger one here. A little easier to get the yarn into, and it's totally fine for this. For other things like, you know, embroidering eyelashes or whatnot, you might need to use a little smaller one. It's doable, but for this one we can use the big one. Okay, now we're going to sew around in these. See, this is the last stitch of the round. We're going to go into the next stitch, just the front loop, like the decrease, how we do the decrease. We're just going to do one at a time. So that's it. Just go and pull through. Really quite a simple process and kind of fun. And then we're going to go into the next one, just the front loop only. We're just going to work our way all around. You can kind of pull it a little bit as you go. Just those front loops. All the way around. Keep that stuffing on the inside. See how I'm kind of tightening it a little bit as I go? It's just hopeful not to leave it all to the end. All the way around those 12 stitches, and we're bringing it to a nice close here. Where was that last stitch? It can be a little trickier to see as you get it closed there. It's really nice when you can use the big yarn hook. Substantial, and get that yarn in the eye there easily. And this technique of closing up the amigurumi ball is really nice. It's nice and clean. I think this is my final one here. Okay. I'm just gonna kind of tighten it and hold down a little bit as I tighten. Just like that. Look at that. Isn't that nice? And then we're gonna just start putting the needle in through those stitches that we just worked on, just kind of through to the sides. We're gonna start weaving in the end, this end, because we don't want it to come loose in the opening here to start getting loose, right? So we're gonna just weave it kind of sideways underneath those stitches. Do you see these stitches here that we just kind of pulled tight? We're just gonna go back under those. Looks like 3 at a time I'm doing here. Doesn't have to be exact. See, that's looking good. All right, do a few more, just go all the way around there. Make sure we're getting some good security there for the end of the work. And then we are almost back to the beginning. All right, pull that nice and tight. And then you just go back into that hole, and you're gonna wanna come out the side. It's gonna sound weird, but you wanna come out the side of the ball and then just kind of pull that nicely closed. And we're gonna go back into that hole and go somewhere else in the ball, kind of across a little bit. It's gonna go into the stuffing and it's gonna help secure that end. You don't wanna yank it really hard because that can distort the shape of the ball. And maybe one more time, back in and through. close by. Can do it. There we go. Okay, and then, and it maybe feel a little scary, but we're just gonna cut that end off close to the ball, just like that. And that will be secure and nice and tidy. And if through that sewing process it kind of warped the shape of the ball a little, you can just kind of shape it up from the outside. All right, guys, this is looking good. So this was how to crochet the amigurumi ball in continuous rounds, and with stacking the increases and the decreases. You can kind of see there are little, not quite bubbles, but little bumps from the stacked decreases here and the stacked increases here. So it's not quite as smooth as we're going to make the next ball, which is going to be continuous rounds again, but we're going to stagger those increases and those decreases. And we'll take a look at the difference. And it's going to make sense how we do the staggered increases and decreases, because now you understand the progression and the math of the basic ball structure. We're just going to shift the increases and decreases just slightly on our rounds to stagger those, but the basic structure stays the same. All right, I'll see you next time.